Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome in to the Hump Day edition of the JP Peterson Show here. Well, we didn't get out to Bucks camp yesterday, but we won't be out there today. We'll be out there tomorrow, though. But we got all of our eyes and ears out there. We know what's going on, but I just want to see it with my own eyes tomorrow. Good morning to all of you. Good morning to you, Nick Ennis from On3 Sports. How you doing this morning?
I'm battling today.
I know you are. You got the allergies.
Oh my! I was telling you, I'm like, winter's allergy season? I just feel pale right now. The head's ringing a little bit. It's like one of those things where, like, my ears feel like super clogged, and then when I blow my nose, like I feel everything just come out.
You look like Snoop Dogg ready to go on stage, man. You are like, your eyes are barely open. Ugh. You look like you've been smoking weed all morning long. You don't have allergies. You should know that's really funny. You've probably never smoked weed in your life, have you?
No comment. Come on now, my wife listens to this show, especially in the beginning.
That's too funny. Oh my God! All right, so let's don't get off the tracks too early in the morning. We got lots of Bucks sound to get to, lots of things going on in training camp yesterday. Yes, it's the middle of June, and we're all about football, baby, here in Tampa Bay. That's right. Because now you know what now is, right? Moving forward towards August 1st, late end July, it's all baseball season. No more hockey, no more basketball, not even any more padel to talk about. It's just baseball.
We got a gut punch 24 hours, 2 sports ended.
I know. Now the OTAs will be the end of any real football happenings, as they're all going to be on break for like 6 weeks. It's sports talk summer. We'll be coming up with really stupid stuff to talk about over the next few weeks. But we're always going to keep it entertaining. We're always going to keep it entertaining. So we got Rays to get to. Another disappointing loss last night. The reason I'm laughing, I don't like to keep things cryptic here, but one of my old colleagues, I was listening to T-Kraz yesterday, feigning outrage over the Rays losing a game to the A's. Like, he was so mad. You can't let this happen. You cannot let this happen. How can you do this? You lose a game to the A's. It's baseball. It's baseball. That's kind of how it works. It's not a football game. It's not a football game where the favorite team, if you lose a game to a 14-point underdog, it's the end of the world. It's freaking baseball. And the A's are just suddenly resurgent and hot. And last night's game the whole happenings was kind of interesting. The whole freaking reverse boycott. So they have 25,000 people show up and sell T-shirts. So I started doing a little digging on John Fisher, their owner. Oh, my God. I have to apologize to Stu Sternberg. He's the second worst owner in baseball. He's just the second worst. But there is an absolute correlation to selfish, terrible ownership and not getting stadiums done. There's an absolute correlation to that. And, the 2 cheapest owners in baseball are the 2 ones that can't get a stadium built. Everybody else can figure it out, but they're the only ones that can't. So it was an interesting atmosphere last night, I thought, at the Coliseum. There were dogs there, and just it was bananas. Certainly different than the night before. It was so bad that the A's pitcher, I can't remember his name, his pitch comm, He couldn't even hear his pitch comm. He's like, I'm not used to people actually being in the park. We got to adjust the volume on my pitch comm.
Oh, wait, you mean to tell me you can't remember, what was his name? Hogan Miller?
Miller.
Did I get it right?
Hogan's Heroes.
I have to look it up, actually.
Hogan Miller. Yeah.
Oh,
Who could forget Hogan Miller?
Hogan Miller.
Hogan Miller. Hey, he pitched better than Max Scherzer did last night. I guess that's one
Hogan
thing.
Harris. See, I already forgot the name. Hogan Harris.
Harris, Miller, whatever.
Joe
Schmo, whatever. But the bats have gone silent suddenly for the Rays. They can't. The power has been a little less than desired.
It's all about when you play somebody.
Yeah.
It really is. And the A's have run into the only hot streak they'll probably have all season.
Mm-hmm.
Give them credit. I mean, the guy they trotted out there yesterday, Fujinami, when they put his stat line across the board, I went 11-12 ERA in 21 outings.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the guy that we have to trot out here if you're the A's right now.
And how in the hell is anybody? How do you have that many appearances with an ERA like that?
That's what doesn't make sense. And then
that means your team just doesn't care.
And then I see him and I'm like, wait a second, this guy throws 101 and he has an 11-12 ERA?
Yeah.
I'm like, none of this makes any sense right now.
It probably doesn't. It probably walks a few people.
But it was a great atmosphere though, because I told you the night before it was just hard to get through.
Deadsville.
With like 4,000 people or whatever it was in there, and I was like, how many people are really going to get inside this stadium today?
Yeah.
Like I was like really going to be like, watch it be like 10,000 or something. 30,000 people.
Yeah.
In the Coliseum in 2023.
Well, and you think about it, the A's have a rich history.
They
do.
Have
a very rich history.
That's why I'm against them moving.
Yeah, and they should stay in Oakland. And the difference is if they had an owner that gave a shit. There was I read a piece on this that Fisher has not signed a legitimate contract or what you would call an upper echelon contract since Eric Chavez in 2004. A 4-year, $66 million contract back then, which would be worth roughly $94 million now.
I think it was like 6 years, $66 million.
2004, 6 years. I mean, that's not even a significant deal, to be quite honest. No. Now, they've signed Cespedes and some other people for shorter-term deals, maybe, but they've never paid a player more than $10 million a year. And in this day and age, that's a joke.
Do I need to present to you the team that they tore down that made the playoffs 3 years in a row?
Exactly.
Matt Olson, Matt Chapman, Marcus Semien, Chris Bassett.
Yeah, put those guys
keep going.
If they'd have kept those teams right now,
Sean Murphy,
they would be leaders.
They would be perennial all-star playoff team like they were those 3 seasons. They had them all.
You tore it all down because you're just cheap.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you need money to make
and
money.
What they do honestly is more egregious than anything the Rays have ever done.
Totally agree.
Not even close.
Totally agree.
Because the Rays still, at the end of the day, will field a competitive team and they win games.
Yeah, they figured out how to win on a similar.
The A's just have no plan.
None. Except he's just going to keep collecting revenue sharing dollars and TV dollars and just make money that way. And if he moves to Vegas, and that was approved last night, by the way, $380 million.
How fitting.
Of public money to build a stadium. Now, that's not nearly enough to build a stadium. Fisher's going to have to come up with a big chunk himself to do it. And is he going to be able to do it? Does he want to do it? And I don't understand. There are people lining up to buy baseball teams. Why does Major League Baseball insist on having owners like Sternberg, who refuses to get a stadium deal done, and Fisher, who won't do anything to get a stadium deal done, when there are guys waiting in line to buy these teams? Like, what are you doing, Major League Baseball? I guess you can't
the
force
Saudis
these.
Are waiting in line. What are we doing here?
Exactly. I mean, the players would probably appreciate having owners that want to pay real salaries. So I'm sure the union is not happy with the Rays or the A's.
Well, here's my thing. I just want owners who give a you-know-what.
Yeah, of course.
That's all I want.
Of course. And that's why I felt for those fans last night. I felt so sorry because I would like to see the Rays fans honestly get together and do something like that. But
well,
they
there's
really
no need
can't.
to right now.
They can't because we're winning. We have the best record in baseball, and that's and that clears a lot of ills. Obviously, when you're winning, but it still doesn't change how how Stu has run the team and the lack of a stadium. They just happen to be really, really good right now, and they haven't always been really good. And by the way, they won't always be really good. It's not, and if they continue down this road of selling off players when they get expensive, and we're not sure that they will. Maybe they've changed their ways. They've signed these players to long-term contracts. Wander for one, but again, he's only making $2 million. Is it $2 million this year? $2 million this year. So that contract's not expensive yet, and we'll see if they hold on to him. But I really felt sorry for those A's fans
I did too.
last night, and I was like, you know what? Screw you, Major League Baseball. Make the guy sell the damn team. Make him sell the team to somebody who's going to come in there and run it like a baseball team and get a stadium deal done.
Not to mention, they've already lost all the sports teams they had in that area.
Yes.
The Raiders, they got jerked around with that. And then the Warriors, they went across the way?
Yeah, it sounds like they have, and Davis is not a rich owner either. Mark Davis.
He's like the least richest NFL owner, I believe.
And then, the Warriors, for what, how do you not move to a brand new Coliseum in San Francisco where they actually, another terrible city that's gone down the drain. But it's just, it's all about ownership. It's ownership. And I know, Rays fans are happy now with what the team is doing. They're marketing the team. They're being much more fan-friendly. So these are all positive developments. So I think, to Stu's credit, they are doing some things now that they should have been doing for a long, long time. The only piece left now for him is to step up and pay for half a stadium in Tampa, and then everything's going to be fine. And then he can sell the team if he wants to, which, he has let's just say there are people willing to buy the team. He has I've been told that he has an offer on his desk for $1.5 billion. And I haven't been able to corroborate that. Nobody could except for Stu Sternberg, and they're not talking about it. But the price is much higher than that, according to Stu. And when the stadium deal gets done, it'll change the value of the team. So stay tuned for that. But as far as the baseball goes last night, a lot of missed opportunity for the Rays again.
Yeah,
you got to score more than one run against this pitching staff.
Yeah, it's not ideal. They've scored 4 runs in 18 innings against the A's.
Yeah,
it's not ideal. And how about the weirdest thing? And
it's
they said it multiple times in the broadcast that Yandy Diaz is 0 for 16 this year against the A's.
Yeah,
he has no hits against this pitching staff. It's really hard to wrap my head around.
And that's after us drubbing them by a combined score of 31-5 in the first sweep of the season.
Correct.
Yandy went hitless.
Correct.
Something about these green colors just does not dig.
They're not working.
He's
no,
not okay with it.
Not working. No, but by
the way, classic uniforms. Love the A's.
That's what I'm saying. I hate to make this an A's show, but damn it, I don't want the A's to move.
No, that's a beautiful uniform, and that with the whites.
It's so classic. You don't have to change a thing.
The script A, beautiful.
The little yellow, just enough yellow on the ball cap to make it pop. So much. I don't want them to move. But no, their baseball team, they straight up just came in there, and the A's are not hitting that well either. Obviously,
yeah.
Give Yonny Chirinos some credit. We've been talking about him a little bit. He continues to just go out there and he battles, and before you look up, he's gone through 5 innings or 6 innings of work, and he's given up like a run or less, and that's kind of what he settled into. So that was a good development for them last night, and then they just got really. It's kind of unlucky what happened. I think there in the 8th inning when the A's scored their run. They get the leadoff runner on, and then he gets to second, and then there was a couple. I'm trying to recall what happened last night. It was late.
Well, it was the hot shot to Paredes who deflected it. Wander got it, could not throw home in time.
Correct. Yeah.
And that was the way the run scored.
Yeah.
And didn't they hit a double into the left field corner? I think to get the runner to third. Yeah. Again. Against this pitching staff, you can't score 1 run. You've got to be way better than that. And hope the Rays will pop back. They'll be fine. They're not I know but their lead is down to 4 games now.
That's the frustrating part. Yeah, their lead is now the Orioles have won 5 games in a row, and they've cut it to 4. It's and the Rays are 7-3 in their last 10, and they've lost 2.5 games of their lead in that stretch, if you can believe it.
That's crazy. The AL East is ridiculous. All right, let's we'll get back to the Rays a little bit here and there, but the main story of the day is this. As Buck's Basement puts it, the Devin White situation is highlighting Todd Bowles' shortcomings as a head coach. I could not agree more. That is my monologue for the day. Yesterday we took Devin White to task. Today it's Todd Bowles and the organization, because this is, I kind of said this yesterday as well. Todd Bowles cannot, because we had the quote at the end of the show yesterday, so we talked a little bit about this. They're covering for him again. And you know what happens when you continue to cover for somebody? You get the same behavior. You get the same behavior. He covered for him during the loafing incident with Sapp calling him out. The team covered for him. Bowles has been covering for him ever since. And how is Todd Bowles rewarded with his loyalty to a player? He goes on social media and does all this stupid shenanigans and demands a trade because he thinks he's worth a lot more than he's actually worth, in my opinion. And what did we get yesterday? Well, let's play the audio. This is from the beginning of Todd Bowles' press conference, and we'll dissect it a little bit, but you can hear it for yourself, the back and forth.
No, it's not a hold-in. We like to see where he is physically, so we don't feel like we need to put him out here right now until we test him and do everything. So 2 or 3 days of camp is not going to help him that way.
Todd, do you plan for Devin to practice at all these next couple of days, or is that going to just be
Not for 2 days, no. I mean, we'll run tests and do all the lifting and running stuff inside, and he'll be ready for training camp.
So he showed up yesterday in his sweats, with talking to you can be seen talking to his teammates, laughing and joking, but he's not doing anything here. And, this idea that it's not a hold-in is, it's ridiculous. Nobody's buying that, Todd. And I understand as an organization, maybe that's what they're telling you to do. But again, I would, if I were you, Todd Bowles, I would follow my instincts and just be honest about it, because that's not, and I understand what the organization is trying to do here. They don't want to upset the apple cart. They want to make it as, non-newsworthy as possible. Oh, there's nothing to see here. No, he's just, we don't want to, we just want to test him physically. He's not going to get anything out of this camp, which is, honestly, he knows the defense. It's better, honestly, for Servassier and others to get the reps. Frankly, if you're a Bucs fan, that's better, because if Devin White does hold out, you want Servassier Dennis to be ready to play. So in that sense, it's good, right? But for Devin, again, this was an opportunity to show leadership, in my opinion. This was an opportunity to say, okay, listen, and I mean, at this point, he has to realize that his holdout or his trade demand is not working. Like, that's not working. Now, if he thinks he's going to do it through training camp and do the Roquan Smith thing, again, the Bucs should trade him sooner than later. And clearly, they're not getting a whole lot of interest in trading them, or I think they would trade. Unless they, maybe Todd Bowles is so entrenched with this guy and he loves him so much. And that, we do know that. Like, he loves Devin White like a son. He really does. I mean, that's just the way it is. And if you're a head coach, you got to like your players, but you can't fall in love with them. You can't fall in love with them, because then you're not seeing clearly what other people are seeing. And you're valuing a player you're overvaluing a player. And you're compromising yourself as a head coach by continuing to cover for this guy. Everybody in the organization knows, all these other players know what's going on. I mean, Levante David hasn't been out to OTAs for a whole lot, but he was out there practicing. Mike Evans hasn't been out there a lot. Carlton Davis hasn't been out there, I don't think, at all, hardly at all. They're out there practicing. You're a professional athlete. You're supposed to be an elite linebacker. You're not in shape enough to go out there and practice, is what you're telling me. That's what Todd Bowles is telling me. I think you're in shape enough. I think you could do it, but you don't want to. So once again, they're covering for this guy. Why are they covering for this guy who's not been loyal to them? I don't get this. The only thing that makes any sense is Todd Bowles loves him so much, he's just going to continue to cover for him. Please come back. Please come back. Oh, we love you so much. Well, and I'm sure he's probably telling Jason Light, give him the money. And Jason Light's not. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that, Todd. Sorry. It's not a need. It's not an absolute critical position. He's not that good of a player. He's not worth the money. I mean, I'm sorry. He's not. And to me, Bucs Baseman is right on point here. This is showing why Todd Bowles is not a great head coach. Do you think Bill Belichick would be covering for this guy? You think Bruce Arians would be covering for him? No. And maybe if you sat up there, Todd, and said, we've been very loyal to this player. We've been very loyal to this player. We picked up his fifth-year option at $11.7 million, making him one of the highest paid inside linebackers in the game. His play last year was not where it should be, and we expect him to be in here and learning and becoming a better player, because he needs to be a better player. What's wrong with saying that? I don't get it. Like, what's wrong with saying that? Why not put the pressure on the player to get his ass in here? And if he doesn't show up, fine. We're moving on. And let me just tell you this, Todd. Why do you want a player that's half in? Why do you even want that? If he's not all in with your team, what are you saying to the rest of your team by continuing to cover for this guy? It's not a good look. It sends a terrible message to the rest of your team. And I, for one, think if you can get something for him, take it. Because, again, I don't think he's that great of a player. He's not worth the money. And at this point, it's a disruption. And if it gets to training camp and he's not there and we keep talking about it, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Move on, save the cap money, go sign Dalvin Cook. I'll argue right now, this team's a better team. Now, they can't cut him and save the money because I think they picked up the fifth-year option. And so I think they can only trade him. So maybe, they're kind of stuck in this position that they can't rip the guy because then they'd just be decreasing his trade value. Yeah,
and I think that's why Todd Bowles is continuing to cover for him. And it's like, I understand coaches lie, and we're still in lying season. Don't get it twisted. But Todd Bowles, this lie is just, it's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad. And for the point that you mentioned, Levante David is, 8 years older than Devin White, hasn't been around much this offseason to my knowledge. Mike Evans is 5 years older than Devin White, has played 10 years in this league, has not been around much, has had hamstring issues and things like that. And those guys were fine yesterday to practice, last time I checked.
Yeah.
But Devin White, we don't want to get him out there because we don't know where he's at physically. Unless I'm just missing something. This is like 1 and 1 adding to 3 right here and not to 2. That's what I take away from what Todd Bowles said yesterday. And frankly, I'm over it. I hear other coaches around the league that deal with the same issues. They don't talk like this. They just don't talk like this. And there's a theme there because Todd Bowles, to me, does not know how to be a head coach.
No.
And that's
he's too much of a player's coach.
And listen, I'm saying this, and it hurts to say it. It really does, because we love Todd Bowles.
We do.
But he's 5 years as a head coach, as we've said over and over and over. You are what your record says you are. The way you handle things in games, the way you handle things in the media, I'm almost over all of it.
Yeah.
I hate to be so negative about it, but I can't take any more covering up. To me, there's a difference between calling out a player, decreasing his trade value, and then give an honest assessment of something. It seems like when you ask a question about other players, we're able to get sometimes from Todd, and I think Joe Tryon's a great example, where last year he said something ever so simple, but it got the point across. Well, he missed more sacks than he made. Great, I get it. I know what Joe Tryon-Shawinka needs to work on. You just told me without really saying it like in a long-form answer that he wasn't as good as he needed to be last year. That's all I needed.
Is that terrible?
No.
Is that going to crush the kid?
No.
It might motivate him to be better.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be you ripping him. Oh, he was awful last year and we lost 8 games because of Devin White in the middle and this and that. It doesn't have to be that. No. But just tell me, just don't feed me a bunch of BS that Devin White is the best player on the defense and we stand by him and this and that. I can't sit through those things anymore. No. I just can't.
It's absurd on its face, to be honest. I don't want to be mean to Todd Bowles, but if you're sitting there saying he's the best or second best player on your team or on your defense, and he makes plays that other guys don't make, I'm like, if that's the case, you're the only one seeing it. Because most people I know that look at him say, yeah, he makes some plays. He makes some really good splash plays. But overall, he's really inconsistent. And I would rather have somebody who's less splashy and more consistent play that position. And it's becoming really the main thing that we're talking about here with this team, when we should be talking about so many other things. And it's really showing, I think, more than anything, Todd Bowles' deficiencies. And Todd loves his players, and his players love him. That can be a problem. When you're too much of a player's coach and they don't respect you or fear you in any way, that you're going to put them on blast, you don't get the best out of your players, in my opinion. You don't. And, Raheem Morris was that guy. Raheem would hang out with the players. Not that Todd does that. But he would hang out with the players, go drinking with them when he was young because he was their age. He basically was, he was contemporary. And, it works with some guys, but with most guys it doesn't. If they don't fear you, you're not going to get the best out of them. You're just not.
And here you go again, by the way. Devin White just showed up to camp right now, 45 minutes into practice. No jersey on, just observing.
Yeah, well, that they may have been doing some tests with him inside, so I don't want to read into anything like he's just lollygagging and showing up.
No,
that's what it looks like.
I'm just reading you I'm just reading you exactly what the report said.
Yeah, so we don't maybe he was doing some weightlifting inside, working with the trainers anyway. And by the way, the whole idea that he may not be in shape to play, so we're holding him out. Well, whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? Everybody else is in shape. Everybody else is expected to be in shape. But it's okay if he shows up out of shape and we just want to evaluate him and we're not going to put him out there for 3 days.
I'd be more concerned more concerned if the guy who is begging for a $20 million contract shows up to camp out of shape when we have 100%, of everybody's there and everybody that can participate is participating. I'd be a little bit more concerned then too about this. So either way, it's not a good look, no matter what the reasoning is here.
I know. It's so stupid. It's not a hold in. We're just, it really doesn't need to be out here and, for 3 days. Well, then why the hell is everybody else out there?
And also, too,
why is Carlton Davis out there? Why is Levante David out? Why is everybody else out there? But it's okay for Dev to not be out there. And he's by the way, he's your captain on the defense? Oof. I mean, none of this, I said yesterday, this is effing ridiculous. This is like a mid-level player, in my opinion, saying I'm worth elite money and I'm not going to show up and play unless I get it. Well, dude, you're completely overvaluing yourself. And if you really want that contract, why would you not come in, act like a leader? This is the point for me. If you really want that contract from this team or another team, you think this is the way to get it? You really think this is the way to get it? You don't think it's a better, maybe you should follow the Levante David example or the Chris Godwin example or the Mike Evans example or all the other guys that got the money when they showed up, worked their ass off, showed their value to your team, did everything right, then you get rewarded. If the team and you don't see eye to eye on your next contract and they're going to pay you $11.7 million, I've said this before, I'll say it again, Devin. You need to say to them, you need to come to the podium today, by the way. Why are you running from the media? Why, are we so big and bad that you can't step up there and answer some questions and be honest with everybody? Really? That makes you look immature as well. You can't sit in front of some reporters and why not? All you have to do is say, look, I feel like I'm a $100 million player, all right? And that's my goal to get that. And obviously the Bucs don't agree with that, and that's fine. That's the way negotiations go. This is a sport. It's a business as well, so I get it. We just do not agree on that. So I'm here to bust my ass in training camp, to bust my ass in OTAs, to do everything right, to answer all your questions and say, I feel like I'm this player, and I'm going to go out and prove it this year. I'll take my 11-7, but I'm going to prove to you I'm a $20 million a year linebacker. Who's got a problem with that? Who? And you go out and make your money and then make some more money. But this approach shows immaturity, and it shows to me that you're trying to get money that you don't deserve. You're trying to leverage your way. You're doing with Kyler Murray, except you're not that talented. You're trying to get money that you don't deserve. You know you don't deserve it, so you're just trying to pressure the Bucs into doing it. And you know what? They're not going to fold. Or at least, God, I hope they don't fold.
No, and if they did fold, it would. People don't understand. This would almost tank. You want to talk about tanking the Bucs' future?
Yeah.
And putting themselves in a bad situation. And this is the moves. Clearly, if you give a linebacker like of this caliber, right, $20 million or even $15 million plus right there, just given what I've seen in 4 years.
Right.
Notwithstanding what he potentially goes and does this year, just based off the 4 years. That's what bad organizations do.
Yeah.
And frankly, that's what the old Bucs would do.
Yes, 100%.
Is overpay for mediocrity.
Yep.
And Jason Licht has shown you, though, in the last 5-6 years that he's really been getting better at this and has become really damn good at this, that they don't discriminate. If you are good at what you do, you will get paid.
That's right.
How many guys you see them letting walk through the door the last few years that are in Devin White's age bracket that are really good players? You see them letting anybody out the door? No.
They paid
pay him.
Dean. They paid Carlton Davis.
Even when some of those guys have deficiencies in their games,
they paid Vita Vea.
They still pay him.
Yeah.
They're going to pay Tristan Wirth. They're going to pay. You can go on and on and on.
What's the difference between those guys?
Those guys are high-impact players that have very few holes in their game, if any.
And they show up.
And
they do it. They're good soldiers.
Correct.
They do what the organization asks them to do. They do it. They're team players. I wouldn't put Devin in that category of any of it. So.
I don't think Devin's. Let me prep. I don't think Devin is he's not a headache, like outside of the field. Let me put it you know what I'm trying to say. He's not we don't have any off the field issues with Devin White.
Remember this.
I think he's got his. I think he's got his head on screwed straight.
Right, remember this from Buck's Basement because I think it's a thing. He said Devin actually created an issue with Godwin last year. Remember in the live stream Lenny had after the Saints game, Godwin did not like the way Devin talked about Jameis. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I remember that extremely well. And Devin was being a jerk about Jameis. And everybody on this team to a man loves Jameis because of the dude that he is. And he's always been a great teammate. Wherever you think about him as a football player, the players always loved him. He was a hard worker. He set a great example in terms of work ethic and doing everything he should be doing. He just couldn't stop throwing interceptions. Okay? So, and everybody loves him. And when Devin was being an a-hole about Jameis, Godwin got into it. And a bunch of, and I sense that Devin is not as part of the party as people think. I do. I just that's just my personal opinion, and I think and I don't think any of these shenanigans. You think these other guys want to be out there?
Well,
practicing? Hell no.
No,
these veterans,
and
no.
I think if anybody
and they see him off on the sideline not doing anything, pouting and sulking. No.
Well, I think if anybody had a real gripe with Devin White or could have one on this team, it'd be Levante David, to be honest, because I truly feel like Levante David could have gotten more money on the open market.
Oh, sure he could have.
I mean, $7 million for Levante David. Come on.
Absolutely.
Okay, even at 33 years old, he could have gotten much more on the market, in my opinion. And he decided to come back, and he's going to be a Buck for life. And guess what? Play next to Devin White and continue that. Me and you get live 45. We're going to do this thing, right?
Yeah.
And then he comes back, and the guy says, I don't really want to be here anymore. So that, to me, it's just that there's such a drastic difference when you talk about Levante David, the way he handles his thing, the way he handles his shit for the last 12 years, and the way Devin White has. There's such a contrast there. And if Devin can't figure it out by being next to Levante for 5 years now, that to me would be pretty telling.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, well, let's move off this subject. You guys want to jump in on it? Bill, a couple more comments here from Buck's Basement. You better not get to see the season. I can't see the players voting him a captain. I just can't. I may be wrong. I prefer giving this money to Wirfs and Winfield. Absolutely. Who doesn't? I prefer giving it to Dalvin Cook if we can get him. Look, I love Rashad White. I think he's going to be a really, really good player. But if we could add Dalvin Cook, I wouldn't be opposed to that whatsoever. Your nose. I'm not talking about long-term contract. I'm talking about a 1 year, $6 million. Come on,
he
in
ain't
and
taking
play.
that.
Yeah. But I don't know who's going to give him more money. I mean, maybe the Dolphins will. We'll see. But I think we'd be a better team, to be honest with you.
I feel your pain, R.J. Martin. 1 year ago, I wanted a D. White jersey. Was a huge fan. This year, wouldn't wear one for free.
How about that?
I own a Devin White jersey. I bought it right when they came out with the new uniforms. It's a nice red one. It's one of those limited ones, like one of the ones that's stitched and everything. Mm-hmm. I tell you what, it's actually at the bottom of my laundry pile right now, and that's not even by design either.
I think you could trade that jersey for a bag of peanuts.
I wish I could. Can you? They should have a trade. They should have a jersey exchange type thing.
Ooh.
Shouldn't that be a thing by now?
Yeah.
If you buy a jersey for a player and then said player gets traded, I've already spent all that money. Like, shouldn't I be able to, like, exchange it? I'm not saying, like, straight up. Like, maybe I could pay a little bit, but shouldn't I get, like, a discount?
With the team?
Yeah.
With the team store?
Yeah, like, if you bought it from the team store, like, I should be able to trade it in at a discounted rate.
That would be a bad precedent to set. But, yeah.
Shame on me for feeling like any company would look out for fans at best interest. Shame on me.
Shame on you. That's the whole idea. That's why they come out with new jerseys all the time. They want you to buy just buy another Devin White jersey.
But for this reason, though, this is
why.
Buy
a creamsicle Devin White jersey.
Oh, I'm buying a creamsicle jersey this year.
Are you?
Heck yeah, because I got to have something to wear on the creamsicle day. I do have my Rondé creamsicle jersey, though.
Oh, why not wear that?
That would be great to wear.
Hell yeah.
Last time we wore him was when Rondé was in them.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, he's going into the Hall of Fame this year.
Perfect.
You don't even need to go spend. Save your money.
Well, if I go to the Rondé game where they have the induction thing, that'd be a good place to wear it too.
Yeah, you could wear it twice. Wear it to the Lions game and then wear it to that.
There you go.
There you go. All right, so other stuff happening at camp yesterday. Baker Mayfield had a nice day. Baker Mayfield running with the ones. 3 touchdown passes. A nice touch pass to Keyshawn Vaughn or Godwin for a touchdown. Got Keyshawn Vaughn in the flat for a touchdown. Who else caught a touchdown? I think Raheem Jarrett with a diving catch with a touchdown from Baker Mayfield.
Seen a lot of good things from that dude.
Yeah, Raheem Jarrett. Yeah, there's a guy who's stepping up. Interesting to note that D. Delaney is starting in the slot. D. Delaney is kind of a sneaky good player. You know, when he's out there, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he tends to make some plays out there. So he may be a little hard to unseat as the slot guy right now. But I know they want Zion McCollum to try it a little bit. Josh Hayes is trying.
Well, remember we spoke to Scott Reynolds. He said he wouldn't be surprised if I can't even remember. He mentioned one of the undrafted guys that had a chance to beat out. Yeah, the guy from Rutgers, I believe.
Yeah, he got a pick yesterday.
Yeah, he had said that he had been standing out more than Josh Haynes, I believe, and that he wouldn't be surprised if he ends up getting the spot over Haynes. So maybe that's kind of leading the way for D. Delaney to take control of this position.
Yeah. So it seems like the safety room, Ryan Neal and Winfield are playing a lot together, so that looks good. All this is just, by the way, it's underwear football, so we're not making any great
who concerns me though
here, but it's pretty. And Servassier Dennis.
Yeah, I keep hearing great things about him.
Had a pick 6 off of Kyle Trask.
I wonder if Devin White was watching.
Probably. Well, he better be watching.
That's why I'm actually very excited for you to get out to camp tomorrow, so you can finally watch Servassier up close.
Yeah.
And tell me what you see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because tomorrow they'll do a lot of 11-on-11s, one-on-ones. So I'll be looking forward to that.
You know what does concern me about this part of camp, though, at the moment, or a player who concerns me right now, is Russell Gage.
Yeah.
I hate to. I'm just putting it out there because I keep hearing all these great things about Trey Palmer. I'm hearing all these things about Raheem Jarrett and even David Moore to an extent, right?
Moore had a couple of good catches.
Right, and I know you're high on Devin Tompkins and some potential there.
Yep.
And Russell Gage, second straight year, just sitting on the sideline. Nothing he can do about it because he's hurt, obviously. And, it's a new offense, and it feels like it's passing him by, does it not?
Of course it does. It does, But that's what competition is for. That's why you go out and sign these guys to push the other guys. And if Trey Palmer's ready to go, let's go.
Yeah, I want the best guy to play, but it doesn't sit right with me that Russell Gage is making $10 million a year to just be injured majority of the time.
Yeah. David Moore has a history in this league, has a history with Canales at Seattle, and if they line up, in day one with David Moore, I'm thinking of the tight end. Did I say that right? David Moore and Godwin and Evans, I'm good with that. The other scuttlebutt here is the tight ends are not really involved in this offense very much. Kate Otten hasn't got a whole lot of looks. Tuala, who's an undrafted free agent, is getting some looks.
Well, I don't recall this offense in Seattle using much of the tight end either.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. And it's a Rams offense, too, so I'm thinking,
Well, they use Higbee a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know, is it the tight ends or is it the offense? It might be the tight ends.
I mean, you know how I feel about the tight end room. I would have preferred to have gotten
it's
a
lacking.
more. Like, I like Cade, okay? He's like one of those kind of all-around guys, but I don't think he excels at any one thing.
No,
and
not
I think
a great blocker.
No, and I think he's just a serviceable tight end. Let me just put it that way.
I think he's a big target, and he can run.
Yeah.
He's more athletic.
And then Co is Co. You're not. He's Alan Cross.
Great dude.
Great dude. The Payne Durham. I know they love the potential that he brings in the red zone.
He just can't get open.
But he's very slow.
Yeah.
That's what I think that was my one thing in this draft. I would have hoped. See, if they had a 4th round pick, it would have been perfect because there were so many athletic tight ends, like super athletic tight ends in this draft, and I wish they could have gotten one of them. But
yeah.
But, if they don't even use the tight end that much, I guess it's really not the biggest deal in the world. I mean, at some point, I just need these guys to block really well.
I might be looking for a veteran addition to the tight end room at some point.
Oh, don't say Kyle Rudolph, please.
Yeah, I don't know who's out there who might be, sometimes you can squeeze another year out of some of these guys. I don't think Anthony Beck is coming back anytime soon. But, yeah, that might be something that they would look for. All right, we'll take a quick break here. We're already 40 minutes in, so we're going to come back and hear some more Buccaneers sound. We'll talk more about what's going on in the offense. And has Baker Mayfield already won this job? That was, I think that's something that a lot of people are already talking about. So we'll hit that around, and we'll hear from some of the guys when we come back. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo joined us yesterday. Great segment there if you want to go check that out on hydration and energy. So check that out as well. We'll be back in 3 seconds. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by. Never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa, and for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back. Our thanks to our great sponsors, the Golden Diamond Source. Hey, we're just a few days away from Father's Day, so if you haven't gotten anything for Dad yet, head on over to the Golden Diamond Source. Get you a nice watch, a nice little personalized pendant or something, or a bracelet. Dad would like that, for Dad, to the best dad, something like that. They can do that all for you there at the Golden Diamond Source. They got tons of great Father's Day gifts, so get on over there, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
What will you be doing for Father's Day this weekend?
There's a very good chance I will be playing golf and watching the U.S. Open.
Okay.
After a brunch with my daughter, who's in town, so I'm sure I will be breaking bread and doing something in the morning. I don't think my son will be coming down for Chicago, but you never know. Could surprise me.
But you did get to see him last week.
Yeah, I did. I did get to see him last week, so all good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's like what moms really want to do on Mother's Day. It's like, don't bother me. Send me to the spa. And
yeah.
I don't want to play mom today. That's what they wanted. What do dads want to do? I always love to see my kids. Don't get me wrong. But then, do what you want to do. Play golf and watch the U.S. Open, of course. Speaking of which, the U.S. Open out at the L.A. Country Club. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. John Gerber's going to join us with his picks for the U.S. Open and our resident PGA pro. We had him on talking about Michael Brown at the PGA, where he used to play. He played a little bit with Michael Brown. So, we'll get his picks. And he had Nick Taylor last week.
I did see that.
Yeah, 66-1. He had Nick Taylor last week so that's a nice little cash in right there on a $100 bet. So he'll have his picks for the U.S. Open. Maybe you make some money. This, we'll get into that a little bit later on. But we wanted to get into
I won it.
Buckstop. What's that?
Sorry, I just am scrolling through Twitter through the show, and then I just came across this. I won it.
Yeah, I saw those all over Wrigley Field. Where's that?
This is
Wrigley?
This is Durham.
Oh, Durham.
Durham Bulls. Look at that cup.
Yeah, it's like a baseball bat cup. It's full of beer.
Hold on, let me share.
It's got a little baseball at the bottom of it, and then
let me share my screen.
Like, almost like a yard of beer.
Let me share my screen real quick so everybody can see.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Let me throw it up here.
That is a beautiful look right there. That's a beautiful look with a baseball field in the background.
Look at that thing.
2 bats full of beer.
I won it.
Oh, yes. Looks refreshing.
It looks like Miller Lights in there. Oh, it looks so good.
Okay, that's it down.
You can't put an IPA in that thing.
You damn right you could. And it tastes 100 times better.
Absolutely disgusting.
They were handing out a free Orange Blossom Pilsner at SeaWorld the other day. We were at SeaWorld, and I took a slip of it, and I went, no wonder it's free. You know the other one they were giving away? Bud Light.
You should have drank the Bud Light.
They both taste like crap, so I wasn't going to have either one of them. Ugh. I'm like, so are you guys trying to get rid of the Bud Light? And the girl's like, yeah. I said, can you give it away for free? She said, no.
You freaking people, man. Just drink the beer.
I didn't do anything. They're the ones who did it.
It's just I'm not even gonna comment. I was about to say something. I just won't even say it.
No, feel free. You're
Okay.
welcome.
It's a bunch of.
Go ahead.
I don't care where you
Rip it
lean.
off.
I don't care where you lean politically, but you got a bunch of grown men who call themselves manly men. You know, they actually eat Hungry Man TV dinners and all that, and they drink a beer when they get home before work. First thing they want to do is they want to open up that beer fridge and open a beer. And for 50 years, because it's usually a 50-year-old man who smokes heaters all day, and they get home, and what's it always they've been drinking? Bud Light. But then a little ad came out on the TV. And now I can't drink my Bud Light. Manly man.
That was pretty good.
Give me a break.
That was pretty good.
Who gives a crap?
That was pretty good. That was really good.
I'm done.
That was really good. That's finally got some passion out of you. Defending Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light.
I'm not defending anybody. I just don't give a crap. You know how many things I consume that I know they probably have shady practices or things I don't. I just don't care.
Yeah, you know, go on the White House lawn, pull your shirt down, show your face.
I don't even know. I don't even see this. So those things aren't even on. Those things aren't even on my radar. I'm pretty sure that's a muted
Well,
word
that's
on
probably
my.
why you
I
don't
think
understand
the White
this
House.
then.
I think the White House is muted on my Twitter account too.
It probably is. But that's probably why you don't understand why some people are just a little bit over it. You know, and myself, again, 99% of people, if not more, have no problem with transgender people or gay people or any of that stuff. Nobody has any problem with it. You want to start doing drag shows in my elementary school with my kids? I got a problem with it. You want to start, competing in women's sports? And stealing medals and things away from women that have been busting their ass their entire life, I got a problem with that. When I think a lot of people feel like you want to start shoving it down our throat and targeting our children, people got a problem with that. And that's okay for them to have their opinion and for you to have your opinion. Absolutely, it's okay. So that's why it's not because they did an ad campaign. It's people had enough. That's enough. And everybody can have their opinion and they can vote with their dollars or lack thereof. So there you are. See, RJ loved your rant.
I don't think I missed. I just don't think I did.
Yeah. One cancer culture yelling at another cancer culture. Did you mean to do that? Yeah. Those cups are $38 at Wrigley. Lonnie said, yeah, that's why I didn't get one. I'll take a beer.
$38?
I'll take a beer and a cup.
Whew.
Yeah, but you get to keep the bat. So take that home with you.
Oh, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it then.
I knew you would say that. Yeah.
They're probably cheaper at Durham, though.
What is Lonnie? Well, you get the pipe bomb.
You wouldn't understand.
What is it?
You wouldn't understand.
What does that mean?
It's something we're going to get on Saturday night. So, I mean, we're going to get it on Saturday night.
Wrestling. Okay, good. Moving on.
We're going to get a pipe bomb on Saturday night. For your friendly reminder, CM Punk is back on Saturday.
Right. Wow. Can't wait.
You could feel me tearing up a little bit.
CM Punk.
But in reality, I'm just trying to hold back this sneeze.
All right. Can we talk about Baker Mayfield? Can we talk about how good Baker Mayfield was?
Please tell us about
yesterday?
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. Yeah, because, we're buddies now. I
really?
met his wife at the event the other day. We had a nice chat. I gave her all the great places on Davis Island to go. So we're like, we're bros now. He's been here 5 minutes, and I've already had more personal time with him than I have with Brady in 3 years. Just saying. Thanks for coming out, Baker. Thanks for being out among the people and being one of us, becoming a tampon. And being one of us and being out there already we appreciate that.
That analogy sucks. It's like expecting the president of the United States to just mingle with the normal people on a daily basis.
Well, the current president certainly couldn't do that because he'd be falling all over his
Shame
face.
on me for using him as the example.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. But no, I like the fact that Baker is out there. He's out there in the community. He's doing stuff. He's at ball games. He's out doing it all. I like it. I think it brings a lot to the team. I think it brings a lot to camaraderie. I think it rallies the fan base.
Oh, and by the way, you know what I love about Baker, too? When he said this yesterday.
Throwing 3 touchdown passes?
Sure. He went to that Rangers-Rays game, and the Rangers are his favorite team.
That's okay.
But you know what? He wore a Rays hat.
There you go.
But you want to know why I did that? Because he plays in Tampa Bay. And you know why I'm saying that? Because Mr. Golesh went to Yankee Steinbrenner Field and put on his Yankee jersey because that's his favorite team. But you coach a Tampa team.
And there you go. And you saw Brady at the Rays game with the Rays. No, you didn't. You saw him at the Lightning game with a light. No, you didn't.
I hate when you do this.
No, you didn't.
I hate when you do this.
Just saying. Just pointing out the obvious truths of what's going on here.
He went to Target.
He did go to Target once.
With a mask on.
Now he's out at Disney World. You see him?
Yeah, there you go. He was at Disney. He was out and about with normal people who all looked like they had no idea who Tom Brady was, by the way.
Yeah, still photos. I'm sure.
Still photos, but I mean, everybody's just looking around, like, away from him. And I'm like, this guy's literally walking around with, like, seemingly by himself. Well, who's taking the picture, though? Security?
Probably. I mean, at 6'5", you're going to notice him. You are, even with sunglasses on. But
my whole point is, I don't hold Brady to those standards because he's in the elite of the elite tier. Okay, you want to see him? You're going to see him in France at Roland Garros next to Kylian Mbappe and Zlatan and those type of guys.
Yeah.
Okay, but yes, I do like to see Baker.
He's part of the elite.
I do like.
Not. Baker's he's a blue collar guy. He fits in much better with the fabric of our city, I would think. He's at this point he's an underdog, scrappy, humbled guy who's trying to resuscitate his career, trying to get in there and work hard, endear himself to his teammate. Moxie. He's got moxie.
Competitive as hell.
Yeah, competitive still with what he said to Rodrigo.
I still hate you. I still hate you.
Yeah, I like that. I like the competitiveness. And he ran with the ones yesterday, had 3 touchdown passes in the red zone, looked really good. So, and Trask ran with the 2s, threw a couple of picks. Like, it's still underwear football. We get it. But, every day that goes by, these things happen. And especially with Canales being so focused in on not turning the ball over. And here you have Trask turning the ball over twice and should have thrown a third, according to the eyes out there.
Well, let's keep in mind, though.
I mean, you're going to fall behind awful quick.
Let's keep in mind, though, because they do keep saying that. Whoever, doesn't turn the ball over the most is going to be the quarterback, whatever. Baker has thrown the most interceptions since 2018 with 62. Let's keep that in mind. And he hasn't even played full seasons in 2 of those.
That's right.
And he's thrown the most interceptions. So, again, this is where it's really
the
hard.
The biggest factor there is what?
Go ahead.
Jameis hasn't been playing. So he's
okay, true. Jameis is probably top 5 on that list, though.
He would have been leading the league. But unfortunately for you, Baker.
Now, on the flip side of that, you know who's number 2 on that list with 60?
Matt Stafford.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, yeah.
Okay, but there's a big difference between those two quarterbacks.
A lot more production on the production side.
But I'm just pointing that out because that's what makes it so hard to evaluate these quarterbacks right now when they're in underwear. Because Baker Mayfield, for all we know, could get out there in week 1, week 2 when he's the quarterback, and he could have 5 interceptions for all I know. Right? Mm-hmm. You just don't know. But you have to go off the track record, and the track record for Baker Mayfield turning the ball over is just not pretty.
No.
Let's just be honest about that.
No. So it's going to be, he's going to be judged on this offense and what he does in this offense. And, a majority of those interceptions came when he was hurt and maybe with some poor teams. But whatever. We don't make excuses. We're just zeroing in on what we see him doing here. He has been nothing but humble, been nothing but really good at practice. His teammates seem to be gravitating to him. So I think it's good stuff. It's good stuff. All right, Trask and Mayfield. Is this Trask? We got both quarterbacks talking here?
Yep.
All right, this is both quarterbacks talking about the unpredictability of the Canales offense.
I would say it's unpredictable. You don't know what you're going to get. We could come at you a million different ways and then throw it over the top of your head. You just never know. You saw the success they had in Seattle with that philosophy. And I think, you add our weapons into that, we could be very dangerous. So, I'm really excited to see how this plays out in the fall.
How would you say it's more unpredictable than last year, than the last offense was?
I don't want to make any comparisons like that, but I think this offense in itself, it can hit you from a lot of different angles. And, I think the goal of this offense is to keep the defense kind of on their heels and, overthinking things, a lot of motions and shifts and things like that. So, really, I think it's more unpredictable in that sense.
Did you have a comment for that? For that question?
I don't know. I know hopefully the person that was asking the question knew that he was asking a question that he knew the answer to, which was, yeah, of course, last year. And, of course, Kyle, is nothing but all these quarterbacks have this good ones anyway, or good PR ones anyway. You don't want to rip the last offense coordinator you were playing for because you never know when you might be playing for them again or have an opportunity to. So he's not going to down. But, of course, last year's offense was the most predictable offense in the history of NFL football.
Correct.
It was a joke. So, yes, this is going to be much more unpredictable. God, why can't people just say the truth sometimes? Yeah, way more unpredictable. Are you? You broke?
I broke.
Yeah. He's having a tough time with the.
I'm fighting.
Today.
I'm fighting it today.
Just sneeze. Just make sure you turn your mic.
I did there. I did.
Good job. All right, let's listen to some more PR.
I think
Baker.
We obviously have a lot of potential to be explosive, but it's just going to have to be about taking care of the ball. I think we're going to be able to get in different personnels and get into similar formations and run very different stuff out of those things. And so, to me, it's about just staying ahead of the chains and taking care of the ball, and good things will happen. I think everybody here will see the difference in the run game that we'll be able to do, and that truly is going to establish what this offense is about. And I'm excited about that. And I know that.
Yeah, this is what I've been saying a lot, and I think it's going to come to fruition. Is this running game last year was a victim of a lot of different things. Number one, an offensive coordinator that wouldn't call the run plays. Number two, an offensive coordinator that did not know how to sequence plays together where the run works off the pass. That was a huge thing with when you saw breakdowns from Kurt Warner and some of the other great analysts in this league. Dan Orlovsky said the same thing. He says when you look at the Bucs offense, no plays lead to the other. There's no sequencing of plays. The run does not set up the pass does not set up the run. It's just, somebody looking at a play sheet and pointing a finger at something. And that's why this offense was so predictable all the time. And there was no deception to the offense, and that's horrible for offensive linemen. You can't play in the league like that. When guys know when it's pass and when it's run, you're already half a step behind. And it was really difficult on them. So I know the offensive line, we've got 4 or 5 starters in new positions, but I think within this offense, it's much more offensive line friendly, more quarterback friendly, more everybody friendly, because it's unpredictable. And when things work off the other, and defenses have to sit there and wait to see if it's run or pass, and you can't just jump off the ball knowing it's pass and knowing exactly where the quarterback's going to be. I mean, that's so easy for defensive linemen. It makes it really tough for offensive linemen. So I think that's one of the biggest things that's going to help the running game, thus help the quarterback, thus help the entire offense score more points. So that's where everybody benefits from something like this. All right, we'll take another break. When we come back, I'm going to get into some other NFL stories. There's big drama in Buffalo. Of course, the Bucs will be playing Buffalo this year. USF approves their funding for an on-campus stadium. What's up with that? And the Rays Stadium and the Vegas Stadium. And I hear Shannon Sharp has popped off again. I'll be interested to see what's going on.
No. He sounded off for the final time.
Oh.
Yesterday in Undisputed, and it was a bit more emotional than you might have thought.
Oh. I'm intrigued. We'll talk about the NBA as well, and we'll relive last night's Vegas domination and kind of look about how this Vegas team was built and what it means for the Lightning. Stay with us. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. TrueBody offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on TrueBody and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa, and for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen,
let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the second hour of the JP Peterson Show. We thank you so much for joining us. PGA Pro John Gerber is going to join us. Picked the winner last week at the RBC. He must have had the crystal ball working on the 72-foot eagle putt that Nick Taylor made for his PGA win, first Canadian to win the Canadian Open. Now we got the U.S. Open this week at the LA Country Club. And we have a steel cage match going down between Rory and Brooks Koepka on the first tee.
And I know who I'm taking in that.
I don't know. I'd take Rory. You know why?
Shot. Why?
Because he's more passionate. He's angry.
You know what?
Brooks has got a fat wallet. He just won the PGA.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Cocky.
But for a different reason, though.
Rory would be that little Irish redheaded kid to be just like swinging haymakers and wouldn't stop.
And I feel like Koepka
like
Koepka just needs one hit. One hit, especially if he gets
he'd be overwhelmed.
But Koepka, I mean, you've seen Koepka with his cocaine eyes. If he puts that on, I mean, it's over. It's over. He's gonna be climbing up the cage. It's gonna be Snuka MSG 1986. I mean, it's gonna be all of that if he puts the cocaine eyes on.
And Jenna Sims would just be sitting there waiting for the winner to emerge.
Correct. And she'll have do they have I can't even remember. Do they have a kid?
I think she may be pregnant now.
She's pregnant, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, then my thing doesn't apply then.
So if are they married? I don't even know if they're married yet.
They are, right?
But if he hits another skid, she's gone. It was so much
I
better
think
when he was winning.
Well, it's his fault though, because remember he started. You know when he started playing bad is when he put that blonde streak in his hair.
Yeah, that was bad.
Remember that? Don't put blonde streaks in your hair.
And don't do the SI. Didn't he do like the ESPN body thing?
I think so, yeah. And I don't consider him one of those like big body guys. I feel like he's like not pudgy, but like,
yeah,
you know what I mean.
That whole thing was weird.
I don't know, but I was gonna say though, by the way,
something Jenna made him do.
I was gonna say that you brought it up because Rory's more passionate.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually why I think Brooks Koepka's gonna win this weekend.
Because Rory's going to be too into his own head.
I think everyone on the PGA Tour right now, I mean, they're all talking about it, and they're all upset. And then I heard Brooks speak yesterday. He has no care in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, he is so, like, he just seems so free. And he's just like, all right, y'all keep yapping away. Well, I'm going to do my thing.
Well, let's run a little bit of that sound.
I'll go find it for you.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Rory had to dodge the media this week because he didn't want to deal with it. What does that tell you?
He's pissed. They're all pissed. You see all these memes going around like this is the live golfers walking into the LA Country Club this week with all their money. and the PGA Tour players are just like, you son of a bitch. I mean, think about it. Like if you're walking in, if you're Brooks Koepka and you're walking into to the players' lounge, you're just like, what's up, boys? What's up? Hey, what's up, Rory? Is that wallet about $200 million lighter than it could have been? Should have come on over, bro. Oh my God, $200 million. I mean, I don't know how that really affects these guys, though. I mean, obviously Rory has more money than he'll ever be able to spend in his life.
Yeah.
Unless he wants to, buy a soccer team or something. It's just like, are you really that pissed? You're more pissed at Jay Monahan, which, by the way, Jay Monahan, and I sincerely hope that he's not, I sincerely hope that he's fine and doesn't have, anything serious going on with him. Hope he didn't have a heart attack or a stroke or something like that. But for him to not be at the U.S. Open and it's a medical issue, that feels a lot like a cop-out. And again, if he's legitimately sick like you are right now, if something has happened, I apologize for even insinuating this, but it seems awful convenient that Jay Monahan suddenly had a medical emergency. He can't be at the U.S. Open at this particular moment, be in public with all the flack that he's taken, And I think when this whole story is done, it's going to be, it'll be a very interesting read. I can't wait to find out how this, from the very beginning of LIV Golf or Live Golf, to the merger, to everything else, it has been the most tumultuous time for professional golf in its history, obviously. And I want the full story. All the greed, all the deception, it's going to be fun reading because in the end, it's a bunch of millionaires bitching at a bunch of millionaires and billionaires.
Correct. And Rory, by the way, and all these PGA guys that are so
nobody
upset.
going hungry.
And I would say, and Rory and all these PGA guys are all upset. Didn't Monahan not say they were going to be rewarded for their loyalty?
Of course they did.
And they're going to get what? Percentages of certain things now that they didn't get before?
Yeah.
It's all going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
They'll all get their money.
It's going to be okay.
They'll all get their billions and millions. Don't worry about it. Nobody's going. Nobody's being hurt here.
Yeah.
That's like when I hear some people get on the Golf Channel and and other errands. It's like, oh, this is so horrible for these PGA players. Oh my God, look at the money that they turn. I'm like, relax. They still got the private jet. They're fine. They still have every.
And by the way,
they still get free golf balls.
By the way, I shouldn't feel bad for any of them actually when I think about it. Because,
they play golf for a living.
Well,
first and foremost.
Yeah, but here's the thing too. What do they always preach about? The tradition is the tour, and we love it because we're not given anything.
Yeah.
We'll have to go earn our paycheck. So if that's what you like,
get used to
and there's a reason why you stayed on the PGA Tour was for that. Then how am I supposed to feel sorry for you now?
I think in the end, what these guys realize is, Rory and everybody else is now.
It's just the way that it was done.
Well, not only that, but now they get their Saudi money too, and they kind of you can look at it from Rory's standpoint because you're right. They're going to get their money. And now they look like they're altruistic, and they're the virtuous ones by saying no to the money at first.
Correct.
And saying, I'm on the PGA Tour, the tradition, which I appreciated. I loved all that, and I was with them on that and still am. But they get to hold on to that and still get their money. Whereas, Koepka, DeChambeau, Mickelson, I think they'll always be publicly looked at in a little different way. Like they grabbed the money, and they didn't support the PGA Tour. And, I mean, you could look at it a lot of different ways, but I still will
I don't think Koepka should be faulted for it. I don't. I actually, when he says that, in a way, Live Golf helped me.
Of course.
Because I was able to rehab more, and I didn't have to play every single week.
Right.
And now I'm the player I was again. I understand it, and everybody cuts their own deal. So there's some guys I like shake my head at a little bit because I'm like, don't you want to compete, while you're still, like Cam Smith, for example. But then I understand that he's, Greg Norman was probably his idol growing up in Australia.
Right.
And, of course, Greg was in his ear.
Right.
And the money doesn't hurt as well, obviously.
Right, of course.
But I would have loved to have seen that guy been on the PGA Tour competing because last year he was, the player of the year?
Mm-hmm.
And they lost that guy.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like he's the same right now.
Yeah.
He hasn't really been a factor in these majors that I've seen him in right now.
Yeah, and maybe, because so many people on social media and at the tournaments have made comments and ripped him and ripped the live golfers, and some of them probably aren't as mentally
some of them
strong.
Though. But then again, one of them won a major, and in the Masters there was 3 in the top 5.
Yeah.
They have performed well. Let's give them credit there.
Well, I'm saying some guys can handle it, some guys can't.
Yeah, and it's the guys who have won before are the ones who are handling it well. If you're keeping track about it, Phil, Patrick Reed, Brooks Koepka, and Dustin Johnson to an extent, obviously, but some of the other guys just aren't. So, but yeah, Brooks too. He ended his press conference yesterday with a nice little line. He was like, "I'll see y'all at the Travelers next week."
What does that mean?
I mean, is Brooks Koepka really going to play in the Travelers?
Probably not.
Have we figured out the logistics of this? But he said it.
I was saying, are they already allowed to come back on the PGA
That's
Tour?
what I'm saying. But that's how he ended his press conference. He's like, "I'll see y'all at the Travelers next week."
So are they does this merger allow?
I don't know.
They're immediately allowed to come back and
he
play.
He could just be, fooling everybody, obviously. But that's why he ended it, though.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, there's still no details on this, like how it's going to work.
I don't know.
Like, in Monahan was like, "Oh, yeah, the live golfers will be punished and you'll be rewarded." I'm like, the players haven't agreed to any of this. Yeah. All right, let's hear from Brooks.
Oh.
If we can.
Yeah, here was him. He was asked about let's see how he responded to the live questions.
He's
the
smiling.
PGA questions. See what I mean? He's so free.
Brooks, compared with when you were on your previous major tear, I just wonder, going into the 3rd major of the year, having been runner-up at Augusta, winning at Oak Hill, do you feel fresher because of the regime that you're on with Liv compared with how it was on the PGA Tour?
I have my own routine. That's it. It's plain and simple. I'm pretty sure I know what it takes to compete in majors. I've won 5 of them and been second 4 times, and just over my track record and how to prepare when you're here, how to prepare when you're home for it, and I've got that, I guess, on lock.
So it's no different playing a live schedule going into these majors.
Just golf, man.
Brooks, at what point in your career did you decide that majors were the thing for you?
I don't know, probably growing up, right? Because at the end of the day, I think one thing that was always kind of harped on me was you knew how many majors Jack, you knew how many Tiger has, you knew how many Arnold Palmer has, you knew how many Gary Player, you knew how many Watson, all these legends, but I never knew how many PGA Tour events or wins they had total. But I could tell you each, going down the list, how many each of them have won. So that was kind of, I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? That's what you're judged on. It's major championships. You look at basketball, you judge on how many championships you've won, not how many games you won. Same thing in every sport.
He's got a point there.
He made great points all around there.
Yeah, it's just golf.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he, to me, is just like, I'll let all this other noise going on. I'll let everybody else get all worked up about it. I'm just going to play golf.
He's going to play golf.
Because he's concerned. I mean, I love how he pointed that out there. Like, he went down the list of all the guys who remembered, and now when they show these graphics, Brooks Koepka's name is in these graphics now.
Yeah.
He's one away from tying Phil. Think about the significance of that. He's one away from tying Phil for majors.
And the fact is, what he didn't say there is the more important thing to me, because that question was set up for him to rip the PGA Tour. Well, if I was on the PGA Tour, I'd have to play every week or every other week, and I wouldn't be able to rehab my knee. So being a live golfer, it was easier for me to, he could have done that, but he didn't do that, which is smart. He's just like, it's just golf. The questions are designed to be divisive and pit one against the other. And he didn't take the bait. So that was smart. And I think the players in general want to come together, because I think when they all get into a room, they're going to be like, look, man, it's all about just making the most money. And now we got the private the equity fund, we got the Saudi money. All you guys are going to get some of that money. And we've already got it. You're going to get your piece too. Everybody's going to get more money. We're going to have less tournaments to play, and it's all because Live Golf forced all this on the PGA Tour, and that's the truth. Obviously the PGA Tour has other things when you're trying to grow the game, and you can't have just superstars playing every week. You have to have the full tour, right? And that's what they do. They produce these stars. They have the infrastructure. They have the ground structure, so to speak, so that these other players can become stars, and you have to protect that, and that costs money. And these second, I call them the second tier events, like the Valspar. They're not the elevated events, they're not majors. Those are the ones that are going to be most affected by this, unfortunately, and we don't know how they're going to be affected. If it's like last year, it wasn't an elevated event, but they had huge crowds out there at the Valspar. He had a great field. It was tremendous. Still had Jordan Spieth. Still had a lot of great players out there. And I think that will continue just because of the golf course and the way Tracy and Rick Odioso and all the groups of the Valspar folks run that tournament. Players love playing in that tournament. So, but it'll still be affected. Don't get me wrong. And we still don't know what the new schedule is going to look like or any of that stuff. So, I'm a little bit afraid for what might happen, but we'll see. But the bottom line is this is great for all the players. They're going to, in terms of money, if that's what you care about, you're all going to get a big old chunk of that dirty Saudi money, that dirty Saudi money that you're going to put in your pocket.
Shall we get into?
Yes.
Shall we transition to what we saw last night?
Yes, let's do that.
Wait,
a couple comments.
A couple comments first.
Yeah. This first one from Nick. Is this our Nick? Is this Nick here? That's you, Nick. Well, you have a microphone too. You can jump in the show anytime you want. JP to Baker. Did we just become best friends? Oh, I think we did. We had a moment.
Y'all are hitting it off.
Yeah. Yeah. He might be mad at me though, because his wife was. We had a nice conversation too. I don't know how territorial. Just kidding. My God, I told her we'd have coffee. I was saying the other day, really like that Baker has been doing things outside of football with his teammates. Yeah, me too. And that's not That's a big thing. That's building a rapport.
I'll read Lonnie's comment before I respond. I'm kind of on JP with this. I'm tired of athletes blowing off fans and not being involved a little bit.
There we go.
Just a little bit with the city. A little bit goes a long way. Look at Brett Phillips.
There you go. There you go.
I don't understand why I have to even make this point, but if you can't understand the difference between a Tom Brady, a LeBron, a Jordan, name any big-time athlete you want, walking around and interacting with people, and Brett Phillips doing the same thing, come on. It's to me, we're apples and oranging this to death. What big-time athlete, who is the biggest athlete in their respective sport that you can think of that honestly mingled and went out and did all those things in their city?
Well, I'm just talking about the athletes that we've had here. All the Buccaneer athletes, the Saps, the Derek Brooks, the Rondays, the Lynches. All those guys were big parts of the community.
Okay, but I'm
always out. They're not in Tom Brady's realm.
No,
they're not.
That's my
I
point.
Agree.
The ones who are in the elite of the elite.
We haven't had any.
But just in general, all throughout sports, I can't find one.
Brady's the first one in that category that we've ever had here. That being said, I think you could do a lot more than he did. I'm not saying that you got to go out and do it, be at every game like Baker's been.
I'll throw Aaron Rodgers as a good example, I guess, because I don't think he's in that tier, but he's in the one right below it. He was at all the playoff games for the Knicks and the Rangers, and
I applaud that.
Taylor Swift concert and all that kind of stuff. He's out and about in New York, obviously.
Steven Stamkos is as big as it gets around here. He's always out and about.
Yeah, but I think hockey's a different.
It's a little bit of a different. He's not Tom Brady. I'm not saying that he is, but yeah, I just like. I like that Baker Mayfield's doing it.
It's good to see. It is good to see.
Yeah,
and I've seen Trask at Soho before. Yeah. If that counts.
He's always out. Trask needs a carton of cancer sticks to roughen up that voice. It's not like he's been drinking Bud Light. Just kidding. GP. Listen, this is a safe zone for jokes. The JP Peterson said, we're not crazy here. You have a safe zone for jokes. You want to make a joke like that? That's fine. That's fine. We're not going to cancel you. Okay, so that's fine, Richie. This is a safe place to make jokes because you can't. Yeah, you're fine. All right, let's get into USF. So USF is formally approved now for the stadium. I kind of gave that stamp of approval when they gave the $22 million for the, because once you spend $22 million on the plans for the particular stadium, you probably shouldn't drop it at that point. So they went and they're going to approved the debt to borrow for $200 million on what the $340 million cost on this. They're expecting, I think, that's about a $17 million debt service a year, and they believe that their revenues will cover that or at least come very close to it. So, and remember, folks, these schools have, hundreds of millions of dollars in their endowment. If I see these articles, oh my God, we can't pay this debt service. We might come up $2 million short, 1 year for the debt service on it. They'll be fine. Mm-hmm. They'll be fine. Not to mention the incredibly bloated budgets that these colleges have. Are you kidding me? I think they'd be able to find the money. Maybe take about 150 of those professors that don't even teach anymore, that are tenured and have all these, it's not just USF, it's everywhere in the college system. I mean, you want to talk about a racket. They can afford to build a stadium. It's not going to affect the sociology department or the science department. And I know I've heard these people say, "Oh, our buildings are in disrepair." I mean, blah 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 blah. I mean, seriously, I've been on that campus. It's a beautiful campus, beautiful new buildings everywhere. Is it perfect? Are some things a little worn? Maybe. You'll get by. You'll get by. I don't think you're going to be overrun by roaches or the air conditioning's not working. I think you're going to be fine with your cushy six-figure salary for not even teaching classes. You'll be fine.
How about this? Get real, people. When we think of colleges and we think of universities, we think football.
Yeah. Yes.
Let's get real here.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a damn about the academics. Let's just be completely frank about that. Nobody cares about the academics, that all the prestigiousness that USF has as an academic program. Now, let me point that out. I do say that, and there was an article here written in the Times this morning by Matt Baker, and about conference realignment and how this helps. And Michael Kelly said it in this article. I 100% agree. You want USF to be a major player in college football again? You want to see them in a nice shiny conference one day and not get left behind like they already have? This stadium had to happen. It just did. It doesn't matter what the risk is or the price tag. And as Michael Kelly said, or Weatherford, I believe, said this yesterday, it's more of a risk if you don't build the stadium.
Absolutely. And I would submit to you that the main reason that UCF passed USF was because they built an on-campus stadium and created an on-campus atmosphere.
They had success at the right time.
And
that's a key part of it. Right now, USF has neither.
Right.
And you have to set yourself up for the future. And right now, the only thing USF is able to do at the moment is they have to dominate the American.
But back to the stadium. Did UCF have great success when they were playing in Camping World Stadium? No.
Not to this degree, obviously, but they obviously
didn't win a national
but
championship.
they were also playing in Conference USA.
Right.
But it helped obviously make them desirable to the AAC when they made that conference.
I'm just here to tell you that.
And they had all the pieces in play to go to the Big 12.
To get to a major conference if you don't have an on-campus stadium and all the revenue, and that you control that stadium.
Yes.
Because the conference wants you to be able to control it, so they can bring events in there.
And to the note about the academics, I said they don't matter, but they do matter a little bit here. Is they became an AAU university, right? And I think it was written here. There's only 71 institutions in the country that apply there. And that is seen as a prerequisite to be considered for the Big Ten.
Right.
More often than not. Am I saying USF is going to be in the Big Ten? Probably. I don't know about that one. That's a pretty big, steep climb.
That could happen.
But they already knocked that one out, that prerequisite. Now you just have – this is the thing. They have to go hand in hand. You got the stadium finance now. It seems like we're all good to go. Let's get shovels in the ground. Let's get this thing going in 2026. But you also have to be very successful on the field. You can have the stadium and the market and all that, but I think you would agree, more often than not, you need to have the success to follow it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if you're not winning games, you're not getting in.
Because
you can't be 1-11.
I look at it.
And have the Big 12 and Big 10. I don't care how big your television market is.
I look at their
main
competitor right now in the AAC. I look at for future expansion, and I'm putting Memphis aside because I think Memphis eventually is going to be. I think they're in the next round of the Big 12 potentially. I think Memphis, I could see that, especially with what they're building over there. I think they got a new stadium coming down the pike.
I think so, yeah.
But I think FAU.
Yeah.
I think throw UCF out the window. They're not playing anymore. The war on I-4 is dead, essentially, at the moment. I think FAU and USF is now the new going at it right now.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. FAU has a nice campus down there in Boca. I think it's a pretty good market, I want to say. It's obviously close to the South Florida. The basketball just put them on the map, obviously, to the entire country.
And Lane put them on the map.
And Tom Herman was a big-time coach at Houston. He was at Texas. I thought he did an okay job at Texas, just the standards are crazy high there, and that's why he got fired.
Expectations are.
I could see that guy turning FAU into a dominant force in the current American. I think that's where USF has to worry about right now is now you don't want to get lapped by FAU.
Well, and that's the thing when we went through the hiring thing. We were all fixated on Dion, and that whole USF. They're getting their new stadium. They hired a coach in Alex Golish, and they didn't hire Dion, and they didn't hire Tom Herman. Like if you're looking at who got the best hire, FAU or USF,
I would say theirs is more of a safer hire at this moment.
Yeah,
because I've seen Tom Herman. I've seen Tom Herman dominate this conference when it was at its peak.
Yeah, so Alex has got a tough road ahead.
He does,
but that hire is, that could be the difference between FAU and USF. So Alex has got, he's got to get on it. They've got to win. Because they're going to win at FAU. He's going to get players.
I think so.
He's going to get players because of his relationship at these other schools. He's got a bigger name, FAU. Let's get the Boca thing and the palm trees. It's good market. Yeah, They have their own stadium on campus.
Yeah, it's not a bad stadium by any means.
That's not a great stadium. It's a Rector set stadium, but it is what it is.
It's there.
It's that, but it's on campus,
It
and
is.
they fill it up from time to time. So yeah, I would agree with that. All right, a quick break. When we come back, John Gerber's going to join us. Get your popcorn and your pens ready to write down his picks. He nailed the winner last week at 66-1. So what's he got in store for this week's U.S. Open? We'll talk a little golf when we come back. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to Jeeves. Support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation. Home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at American Mortgage Services. Rates are up, rates are down. Craziness going on in the home financing game, but Scott Fitzgerald is your man. He will find the lowest rates, have the lowest fees, and creatively work with you and your finances to make sure you're paying the least amount for your home. So use this experience to your benefit. Just email him, scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa.com, and have a conversation. It's a free conversation. He can look at your entire finances and say, you might have to pay, 5.5 interest here, but we could save you money here on your payment, save your money here on your payment. So he can get everything down to the lowest level. So have a conversation, find out what the numbers look like, see what you can afford with these new interest rates, and get out there and buy that home. Scott@amstampa.com. All right, well, welcome in our good friend John Gerber, PGA Pro. John Gerber, what's up, my friend? How are you?
Good morning, fellas. Happy U.S. Open week, right? It's a pretty exciting week for golf.
Well, yeah, pretty exciting week for you last week as you got the winner with Nick Taylor and the 72-foot eagle putt on 18. So that's got to be a nice feeling when you see that putt drop in a playoff and you become a winner like that, huh?
Yeah, how about that? It was one of those things that looked like there's so many playoff holes. It was almost like who wanted to win, right?
Right.
Something like that happened in the odds there that, not having a Canadian winner in almost 70 years. But, he had been playing well for a while. But we also had a winner with Justin Rose to finish in the top 10. So we cashed in on that also. So that kind of got us over. We're kind of playing around with our number. We were just a little bit on the positive side. But that got us to plus 7,035 units or dollars profit for the year. And then we did well. We're doing well on our matchup more so than anything else. We're 58, 17, and 5 on our matchups through the year. So,
that's easy money.
That's like we said at the that's like what we said at the beginning of the year. There's going to be some ups and downs. So you just got to play the system every week, and it just goes to show, like what happened last week. If you continue to do it, you'll make some money.
You finally cash in. Yeah, it's a long play. It's a long season, but you've been good at this, and people can make some money on it. So get on it. All right, so let's talk about first, before we get into this week's U.S. Open, I got to get your take on what the hell happened last week with this merger. I know it's a long conversation, but just, give me your overall thoughts on first. Why did it happen? My thought is the PGA Tour knew they were going to lose in court and didn't want to fight a battle where they had to pay $100 million in legal fees just to lose. And I think Monahan took the best deal he could get, and I think it was a stroke of genius for him to go in there and talk to the sheik and kind of freeze out Greg Norman, because that's how they got the deal done, right?
Yeah, you're 100% spot on when it comes to those 2 points for sure. I think there's a point that people aren't really that haven't really thought about, and a little bit of my perspective is, you're right. I think they knew they weren't going to win in court, and they certainly didn't want to drag it on in court. And Brooks Koepka winning the PGA Championship really didn't help their cause in court, because one of their battles was, you're not really kind of bringing the game together. You're separating it. But if you look at the ratings for the PGA Championship, it was the highest rated PGA Championship in over 20 years. So, they were going to lose that kind of argument a little bit, but I'll go to say it really wasn't because of Brooks Koepka. I think it was because of Michael Block. All these people watching in the ratings. So that was a little bit of smoke and mirrors. But when it comes to the merger, there was something that was going to be leaked that somebody knew before. So I think the PGA Tour and this merger, I think they were trying to get ahead of it. And it was just strange for all the players that I talked to. They were just upset in how they heard about it. They were blindsided because all this for a whole year, you want us to kind of unite and you want to ask our opinions about all this stuff. And then when you make a big decision like this, you don't ask any of our opinions. They're more pissed off at Jay Monahan than they are the players.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think that Jay Monahan, suddenly has a health issue. I hope he's okay, but I have a little bit of a doubt.
Timing's a little off there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I hope he's okay. I mean, you don't want to wish that on anybody, but it seems a little bit convenient after all this was going on that he's suddenly not feeling well. But like I said, there's a lot more that needs to come out. I think there's a lot. The players are talking about compensation. How's that going to work? But I agree with them to a point, but they were already really compensated a little bit with these elevated field events.
Of course,
right? I mean, they were playing for more money than they ever have. I mean, the PIP money that they were getting for the social media stuff, they actually moved that down the board in terms of more players are getting paid more money. So, the general public look at it and the players talk about it, but they're only talking about the higher end players. I'm more concerned about what's going to happen to the kind of the journeyman players that maybe not going to get in some of these events now because some of these LIV players are coming back.
Yeah, no, it's the lower level players and the lower level tournaments that are going to be hurt by this. Which it may be the Valspar here. I don't know. I think it's a big enough tournament that they'll survive. I think there's probably 3 tiers of events, or maybe 4 tiers of events. You got your majors, then you got your elevated, then you have your high tier, your next tier events, which I would put Valspar into it, and then you got kind of the fall events that are maybe at the bottom tier. So those will, I think, I don't know what's going to happen to those, but do you know any details on what it's going to look like? If you talk to any players, like what the schedule is going to look like, how it's all going to be affected?
Yeah, I have talked to a lot of players, and they don't know either. And that's the kind of difficult part. They don't know either. They don't even know if the elevated field events are going to continue either. They might just continue to add more money to all the tournaments. So the Valspar might get a hit. It might not go to 20 million. So they're, like I said, the players don't even know. And that's kind of the frustrating part with those guys is like, well, we don't know anything. We don't know anything more than the general public knows. So, like I said, that's the tough thing. But I promise you this, one of the deals in the merger, and there's four big players that's really going to head this thing up, Jay Monahan, Jimmy Dunn, Sahir, the management fund, and one other guy. I don't really know who he is. But Greg Norman's not going to be a part of this. I promise you that. And that was one of the things that they made sure of.
Yeah.
Yes.
John Gerber,
for
PGA
sure.
Pro, joining us here. Another thing I think is interesting, and I heard this from a PGA Tour player who's very well connected. There's talk out there that Tiger, Elon Musk, and Michael Jordan are putting together some type of golf company that may be, they're talking about this for-profit company that's going to emerge from this merger. And I know that Tiger and Rory are already in a deal, right? There's some. What is that something that is out there? Have you heard anything about this?
I haven't. They have that TGR that's coming out, that two-person kind of simulated league that they're going to have, but that's not really going to be any combination with this PGA Tour or DP World Tour or this merger. But it wouldn't really surprise me if an entity like that kind of came together. I'm really surprised that we haven't heard from Tiger yet, right?
Well,
we've heard from Rory.
Yeah, that's why everybody's
Tiger's,
like, you haven't heard anything from Tiger because he's got this thing cooking.
Yeah, right. So that, if you believe in the conspiracy theories, that may be something. Tiger still, I don't want to use a bad pun, but he's kind of still in the bushes when it comes to this stuff, man. So,
he's not.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, man, how a lot of these things, now that the PGA Tour, they continue to say that they're going to be for nonprofit. But, to be honest with you, I think this is one of the things why this merger happened, because there was probably some things going to come out in court that they didn't want to come out. And I think that's why this thing happened fast. They didn't want to get exposed. So, like I said, there's just so many things that still needs to be unraveled. And I'm pretty sure we're really not going to know the true facts of why. They're going to kind of brush this under, and they just want everybody to kind of move forward with the new kind of structure of the PGA and DP World Tour.
So the not-for-profit company maybe was making a little bit of profit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're a not-for-profit company when you have $100 million in reserves.
Right. Well, when they say non-for-profit, right? So Jay Monahan can pay himself whatever he wants to make sure that the business breaks even. Well, the players aren't going to go for that when you're saying, okay, well, why aren't we paying for this amount of money?
Oh, God,
so, like I said, I'm more concerned, and the players are more concerned that they just felt like that they just kind of got stabbed in the back by Jay more than anything else. And you could see the frustration from some of these guys, especially Rory. I feel bad for Rory.
Yeah.
He was kind of the sacrificial lamb and the scapegoat of all this, as much as they asked him to kind of be the face of this, to go against the LIV Tour. And then now you don't even, Jimmy Dunn calls him an hour before the announcement, and he's like, I thought he handled it pretty damn well. I probably wouldn't have handled it nearly that good.
Yeah. I think, and I said this a little bit earlier, John, Roy doesn't have any egg on his face, and none of these players that stood up and said what they said have any egg on their face, in my opinion. They still have the moral high ground, in my opinion, and will always have it. But now they're also going to get some of that dirty Saudi money. And I'm pretty sure they're not going to leave the tour. So.
And I heard you made a comment earlier, and it was a really good point, and you started talking about Brooks Koepka. Well, the players don't really have any issue with the other players going. In the whole adage of, athletes don't talk about other athletes' family or money, right? So they weren't really upset about that. They were just upset of, those guys trying to come back in the lawsuit, right? The lawsuit was the big deal with the players against the players. Now, Koepka wasn't a part of that lawsuit.
Right.
So him and Rory playing tomorrow is not going to be a big issue. They actually played a practice round in the PGA Championship together. So they're fine. But here, I firmly believe if Brooks Koepka didn't get hurt and didn't really know where his career was going, I don't think he would have joined LIV. I don't, because he focuses so hardly on the majors and really wants to support that. And for him to go over there, I just think that it would prepare him a little bit more for the majors. And that's really all he cares about. So I think if Koepka didn't get hurt and really didn't know where his career was, I don't think he would have went over there and took that money.
Interesting. John Gerber, PGA Pro, joining us here. All right, let's get to your picks for this week. The Los Angeles Country Club. This is not Riviera. This is the Los Angeles Country Club. It's a different venue. I don't know much about it, to be honest with you, but I know it's going to be set up hard because it's the U.S. Open, and the cream of the crop usually rises to the top in these situations. So I guess the usual suspects, or do you have any long shot guys that you like?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The cool part about this, there's not a lot of people really know about this golf course. They kind of kept it private, and they've been offered so many events to have events. and they really haven't. Their last big event they had was in 2019. They had a Walker Cup there, so there was a few players that was playing it, and then they had a Pac-12 championship there, I believe, in 2010. So some of these guys have seen it, but it's not nearly going to play like it's going to play for the U.S. Open. So it's one of those weird golf courses. You know, you have bent greens out there, but you have Bermuda rough. So, and then you have some of this fescue that's kind of winding in there. So you're not going to see the traditional U.S. Open with the high bluegrass like you saw last year. So it's going to be somewhat playable, but the greens are really going to be the deciding factor. And that's kind of how I looked at my card when it comes to that. So our first pick on the board this week is Patrick Cantley at 16-1. He currently holds the course record there in a tournament golf course setting. So I really like him. I picked him at the very beginning of the year. I think this golf course is set up great for him. He's played it more than anyone that's playing in the tournament. Okay. So that's surely going to help him around the green. So I like him at 16-1. Second pick, Terrell Hatton at 28-1. If he doesn't break all his golf clubs as well as he's playing, he's going to have a good shot to win. I like the way he played last week. He can go low, but he also showed a little bit of patience that you normally don't see from Hatton. And it might come into effect this week at LA Country Club because the place is pretty quirky. So quirky like he is. So you might be a great fit with Terrell Hatton. But third pick on the board, I like Cam Smith at 28-1. If you look at a guy like Cam Smith, he's one of the best putters on the PGA Tour. Yeah. And this golf course is a little bit like Melbourne Country Club. It's one of those old school kind of Australian type golf courses that you see a lot of fescue. Mm-hmm. You see a lot of really cool bunkering, and you see a lot of run out. So you look at a guy like Cam Smith who puts the ball off a well. I think he's going to have an opportunity to fare well. Our ham sandwich pick this week, Denny McCarthy at 110-1. 110-1 for the best putter on the planet. I think there's really good value, especially he finished 10th last year in the U.S. Open at Brookline. He lost in the playoff at Murfield in similar conditions. The greens are going to be running about the same speed. The rough is going to be about the same height, and the fairways are going to be about the same speed. And very difficult place that he played well at Memorial. So look for him. I thought he was great value with our ham sandwich. We might get two in a row, back to back, at 110. Two top tens. We have Justin Rose at plus 550, coming into some really good form. Cam Davis at plus 900. Again, another Australian guy that's played this type of golf course a lot in Australia. So I like him to perform well. Two top 20s. Ricky Fowler at 280, and Adam Scott, another Australian, at plus 330.
Adam Scott, huh? He's plays these tough golf courses very well. So,
yep, like yes, he does. And a cool fact that we had the last 2 weeks, we've had all 8 guys on our picks make the cut. So even with our winning last week, we had Colin Morikawa to win the tournament 2 weeks ago at the Memorial. I call him Coward Morikawa now because he withdrew, and he didn't look like he was very hurt at the Memorial, especially when he was sitting there 2 shots back, and I had him at 35-1 Memorial. So he's due about making that list because I'm not real happy with him, but he's not on our card this week.
Good stuff. All right, partner. Always great to chat with you. When it comes to U.S. Open, we'll tweet out. Retweet your player card a little bit later on. So if you didn't write them down, you'll see it on our Twitter. So, all right, partner, appreciate you. Glad you're feeling better and got through all that stuff. So we'll have you on next week with another winner. Thanks, pal.
I appreciate it, buddy. Have a great week, buddy. Thank you.
John Gerber right there. And a winner last week. He's got some good – he always has great reasons for his picks. So it's good stuff.
That's like next level stuff. Like breeding like the grass and all that and – being able to know that this is the same type of course that they have like in Australia,
right?
And picking an Australian is one of your top favorites.
He's smart. That
next level stuff right there.
Next level wagering.
Just went ahead and retweeted his picks on the show account, so lock him in. Beautiful. What do you say? Plus 7,000.
Yeah. Also, you can hear John and all the guys on the From the Rough podcast on DSPMediaOnline.com. That's our partner website. FanStreamSports.com. You can find the From the Rough podcast there. Also on YouTube. Go to DSP Media Online, and you will find that great show there from the Rough. If you want more golf talk, you'll hear even more from John, how he breaks it all down.
Yep. All right, well, we got about 7 minutes here.
Okay.
We haven't jumped into the bludgeoning last night of the NHL Finals, Game 5.
That was a suffocating performance by Vegas, and not only because of the way they play, but the crowd, everything. You just felt like – of course, the Panthers didn't have Matthew Tkachuk. who's there. He's the guy that tilts the ice the other
Which,
way when the other team
by the
is
way,
pressing.
mad respect, playing through a broken sternum.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate to compare the NHL to the NBA again when it comes to these things,
or baseball.
Or baseball, but my goodness, what these guys played through.
It's insane.
I mean,
It's really insane.
I think Bucci said that his brother had to help him get out of bed before Game 4. Like, it was that bad.
Well, can you imagine, like a broken sternum? Like, you can't move your body without your sternum. Like, it's not like you can limp it off or something like that.
No, and I don't know if there's a shot you can take to get that pain to go away.
No, and then if you have a broken rib, it's so painful because you just everywhere it just hurts.
Yep.
Your sternum, I can't even
that
imagine.
Physical brand, I guess, caught up to him
having
at some
open heart
point.
surgery. Well, maybe not open heart surgery, but that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's great. So anyway, and Vegas, boy, I tell you what, you look at the way they built their team, and the expansion draft. They took the Riley Smith contract so they could take Marchessault, and then Marchessault, former Lightning player, becomes the Conn Smythe winner with 11 goals in 11 games at one stretch, 25 points total in the playoffs. He was fantastic. And Mark Stone with a hat trick last night, the first one in the Stanley Cup clincher since 1922, and I wrote this down somewhere.
He's looking for the hat trick number.
Yeah,
first hat trick since I believe '96. I want to say.
Not in the final. No, in the winning game.
Yeah.
Since 1922.
Oh, 22.
Babe Dye for the Toronto St. Patrick's.
Who?
Babe Dye. The old Babe Dye.
Oh, well, I know Babe.
Yeah, the Babe.
Damn, Babes were dominating back in the 1920s.
Yeah, he was the Babe. So, yeah, I mean, it's just Vegas was, and they're so big defensively.
Yeah.
They're so deep. They go 4 lines deep. Then you add Bruce Cassidy and his structure and the way he, just demands that structure and that defensive first type thing. It was, we were talking about, wow, Boston made a great move, they to win the greatest regular season ever. And then Cassidy comes in here, the former Boston coach, by the way, who was sacked for being a great coach.
I love how poetic that is because
it's really poetic.
Then the my goodness, Boston goes and has the President's Trophy, like you said.
Yeah.
They get eliminated in the first round by the Panthers, who lose in the Stanley Cup final to Bruce Cassidy's team.
Right.
It's so poetic.
Yeah.
I absolutely love a storyline like that. And I tell you what, I looked at Vegas and I knew they had so much depth, but whenever I was watching, I love, by the way, how they handle everything. Like, you get to see everybody hold that cup up. Yeah. They don't pan away. They don't go to a different station. Like, I was like watching the athletic training staff carry the cup. I don't know why, but I mean, I was just watching it. I love how they do that. But I'm seeing all the different players come through, and I'm seeing them all the back of the names, and I'm going, man, this team was loaded. Loaded with star
a lot
power.
of guys, but a lot of experience too.
A lot of
guys that have won the cup, and it just goes to show you that the regular season and the postseason are just completely two different sports. They just are.
But even then, though, they were the number 1 team in the West. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, the way they played this postseason, the way they played in the regular season, this is almost very contrast to what we saw with Denver and the NBA. It was wire to wire, the best team, at least in the West, got it done. And in the same case in Vegas. And I think Florida, they just ran out of gas. Yeah. I think they ran out of gas, injuries at the worst time, and Bob became Bob.
Well, and that's the other thing. What about Aiden Hill? He was their 5th stringer to start the season. Do we, when we went into this saying, look, we still have the best goalie in the game in Andrei Vasilevsky, so, we're going to be good and go deep into the playoffs as long as Andrei Vasilevsky is the goalie. And you're like, well, maybe defensive structure and people in front of you are just as important as the guy behind you, although he made some incredible saves last night. I mean, ridiculous
The
saves.
Confidence he was that's the hardest thing. A goalie that has that much confidence is the most dangerous thing. I mean, Bennington did the same thing in 2019 where he came out of nowhere. He had so much confidence, and Boston just had no answer for him in 2019. Same thing with Aiden Hill. Like, I don't know if Aiden Hill's going to end up being a great pro for the rest of his career. I just don't know. He's going to get paid like it, but Bennington, it didn't work out there, and now he's a headache for St. Louis they have to deal with. So I don't know what's going to happen for Aiden Hill, but you can't take this moment away from him, though. You can't take the moment, and just when he got the cup, I mean, he got the loudest reaction from that crowd last night, which we give to Vegas. I feel like we all point we point a little bit at the Vegas, the market, and the crowd. I mean, I thought they showed up big time last night.
They did. It was fantastic.
And the scene outside.
Wow. Crazy.
The scene outside was insane.
Like, how many people was that outside? 20,000,
That was more than
30,000,
that. Looked like
40,000?
30, 40,000 at least out there.
A lot of people.
So a lot of people.
You know, and how hot it is out there.
That's what I'm
Vegas
saying.
right
Like
now,
they
just
had
sitting
to
outside
they
in
had to
the
play
sun,
that game
watching
at
it.
5 o'clock last
kidding
night
me?
in Vegas. So we give Vegas flack, but they clearly hockey looks like is hockey more of the big thing in town more than the Raiders are?
I
Is
think
that
they
possible?
Are. I think because they were first.
They were first.
They
yeah.
were first, and I think they've got an organic thing going there.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people of Vegas are just all in with this team,
And they still kept a good nucleus. Like I love how they did too. Like Stone got to skate around with the cup first because he's the captain and all that. But then he handed it off to all the original. What did they call them? The Misfits.
Yeah.
They call them like the Misfits, I think. And it was Marchessault and Riley Smith and McNabb and William Carrier. Like they had like Carlson. They had like 7 players still that they had here from the original nucleus.
Yeah.
That were
Did you
on
see
this
Carlson
team.
put his little baby in there.
I did, yeah.
He's like a little tiny, like just born baby was in the cup. I was like, oh, I'll be drinking out of that later. So make sure that diaper's pretty tight on that kid. It'd be the first. It might probably be the first dump taken in the snap. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not.
I mean, nothing about that Stanley
Speaking
Cup
of Patty
is
Maroon,
sanitary.
he went by the Lightning camp today to say hello to the kids. That was pretty cool that he did that.
Oh, good to see for Pat.
Yeah, of course. All right. Did we miss anything today? I think we got it all. Oh, we didn't talk about Stephon Diggs' little petulant temper tantrum that he's going through as well.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
And as a reminder, by the way, RJ put it up in here. Did you see Erasmo Ramirez is back, baby?
Is he really?
The
Erasmo's
Rays,
back?
He got DFA'd by the Nationals, and the Rays signed him, and he reported to Durham. So
we got Erasmo back?
We got Erasmo back. See you in a week.
Wow.
See you in a week.
The Wechter would start getting ready. All right. Our thanks to John Gerber who joined us today. Thanks to you as well. I'm going to be out at Bucks Camp tomorrow to give you a little eyewitness report of what's going on. Not quite sure how we're going to work that out, but we'll be live tomorrow from 10 to 12, and we'll have all the greatest and latest from Bucks Camp. We will see you then. Have a great day, everybody.